victim of sexual violence, and she is here with me today to talk about her book. Welcome to Morning Life, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
Let's perhaps start with you telling us why you decided to publish this book for the whole world to see.
I think you can say when rape happens to a woman, it's a very personal experience. But like they say in feminism, the personal is political. So a lot of people, when they are raped, they don't want to talk about their experiences. I had the opposite effect. I desperately wanted to tell people what happened to me, to have these difficult conversations, and just make what rape really does to people known.
Just give us a synopsis of the book.
The synopsis of the book is when I was 23 years old, I did my psychology honors thesis, as you mentioned, and male discourses about rape, the way men talk about rape. The final day of my psychology honors thesis, we had a celebration to celebrate that we survived the year, the whole group of psychology honors students in Muizenberg in Cape Town. That evening, while we were celebrating, one of my friends wanted to talk to me. And I think I immediately knew what she wanted to talk to me about, because in the process of putting together my thesis, it had evoked very strong reactions from women who wanted to share their story with me. So we went to the beach to talk about her experience, and at the beach we were robbed, assaulted and raped.
Your thesis, when you presented it started with you saying a woman born in South Africa has a greater chance of being raped than learning how to read.
Yes.
And then that very night that you presented your thesis, it happened to you.
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
It's disbelief, I think. It's that irony that life is stranger than fiction. I think with my thesis, giving my presentation, it was a very victorious feeling, and then to be smashed down that evening, it was horrible.
When you were writing this book, you had to recollect and relive some of the bad memories that happened that night. How was the process like?
I think it was a very, very difficult but also very healing process. Like I said, healing for me is circular, so a lot of the time there would be something I thought I had dealt with, and then I would read a little part in the book and I'd realize, oh, okay, no, I'm not okay with that part yet.
You will find that in most instances, the victim is blamed for what happened to them. As a psychologist, what advice do you have for victims who such behaviors are directed towards them?
I think it's a symptom of our society that makes use of rape culture, where we turn our focus to the victim. We are so preoccupied with telling the woman where she should go, what she should be doing, what she shouldn't be doing, that we forget about the perpetrator. We forget that the perpetrator chose to rape. And I think if that person can just stay true to herself and remember, no matter what she did, it was always the perpetrator's choice to rape her.
There's a lot of stigma when it comes to rape, and we find that a lot of rape cases go unreported. Does this play a role in perpetuating rape culture?
I think a quote that really sums up rape culture for me is, and I can't remember exactly where I read it, but it said, if rape was about sex, 2-year-olds wouldn't get raped. If rape was about sex, 76-year-olds wouldn't get raped. People make the mistake of thinking that rape is a sex act, and then a sex act is something you can participate in. Rape is about power, and when someone exerts their power over you, that's not something you can participate in.
In the book, you talk about how myths promote false accounts of what rape is. Can you tell us more about that?
I think the myth, and something I experienced most strongly in my journey, was just the shame that you feel as though you did something wrong. You feel like it's your fault, and you somehow feel less. You feel like a lesser person because now you've been defiled in this way, and you're not worth as much as you would have been if this didn't happen to you. So for me, I think something, and it's also, I know the emotion most rape survivors experience is just that deep shame that you have to carry by yourself.
Has your psychology background played a role in terms of helping you to deal with what happened to you?
I say this a lot now, as I don't think healing is something that ever ends. I think in Hollywood movies they always portray healing as something bad happens, you go through a horrible time and then it's over. That's not how I experience healing. I believe healing is circular. So you go through the same things again and again, and sometimes you only go through that thing 10 years later, but it's never done. Even as I'm sitting here, this is just a different part of my healing process. But yeah, every step you take is a step forward. I asked them what they did to protect themselves from rape. One said, "I don't talk to strangers. I don't go out alone at night. I set my mobile phone to speed dial. I have my running shoes on."
And that very difficult interview was done by Ikgomotseng Segopolo, talking about something that really affects every South African. And he had a chat to Michelle Hattingh at Love Books in Melville to talk about her debut novel called I'm the Girl Who Was Raped.